The fastest way to get great at speaking English is to make mistakes, tons of them. As long as you understand where you're going wrong and try something different next time, errors are a language student's best friend. However, you can't learn from your mistakes if you don't know what they are. That's why we've pulled together 9 of the most common speaking errors English learners make, according to a series of experts, university professors, English tutors, and YouTube famous English enthusiasts. No one expects you to have perfect English, but if you absorb the information in this article, you'll sound more natural at some of the trickiest stumbling points. This way, any mistakes you do make will be nice and original. Common English mistakes, and how to avoid them. Most English mistakes occur when non-native speakers try to translate phrases directly from their first language. Which mistakes you are prone to make usually depends on your first language and how its grammar and construction differs from English. However, here are some super common stumbling points. The first common mistake is mixing up lend and borrow. Professor Paul Bryans of Washington State University has created his own encyclopedia of common mistakes in English. Just one of his many examples, some people use borrow when they actually mean loan or lend. For example, a non-native speaker might say, "Can you borrow me an eraser?" when what they mean to say is, "Can you loan me an eraser?" In standard English, to borrow means to take something from someone, knowing that you will give it back. To lend or to loan means to pass something on to someone else for a short time. How to avoid this mistake? Ask yourself, which direction is this object moving? If an object is moving away from you, you're lending it. If an object is moving towards you, you're borrowing it. You can also tell which word it is from the prepositions around it. We lend something to someone, but we borrow something from someone.
Let's borrow this microphone.
Well, I'll lend you something. Yeah.
And the second most common mistake is confusing me too and me either. The difference between me too and me either is that one is positive, and the other one is negative. The positive one is me too, so for example, if you say I like traveling, then I would say me too, which means I like traveling too. On the other hand, if you say I don't like extreme sports, then, if I agree with you, I would say me either, which means I don't like extreme sports either. Not too either. How to avoid this mistake? One of the first things you learn in English classes is how to agree with a positive statement by saying me too. If you want to agree with a negative statement, you should say me either instead. To remember this, learn the trigger words for negative statements, including I don't like, I hate, I can't stand.
I like it. Me too.
Believe it.
Me either. And the third one is saying congratulations on someone's birthday. According to the ESL expert, Lingua Marina, it's very common for English learners to comment on their friends' birthdays in a way that sounds awkward. When someone has a birthday, you can say happy birthday, you can send good wishes, but in English, you can't really say congratulations. In English, the word congratulations is used to praise somebody's achievement. However, when you have a birthday, it's just something that happens to you. It's not really an achievement. This mistake usually comes from translating from your own language into English. How to avoid this mistake? Instead of wishing the birthday boy or girl congratulations, say happy birthday, or I hope you have a lovely day. Save congratulations for when your English-speaking friends have achieved something more active. For example, if somebody's getting married, got a job promotion, a new house, then you say congratulations because this is something brand new happening in their lives. More generally, this can be avoided if you try to start thinking in English rather than translating words directly from your native language.
Happy birthday!
And the next common mistake is mixing up since and for. I often hear people say I have been living here since 3 years. It's a shame, because I have been living here is a beautiful way to start a sentence very advanced. However, the final part of this sentence has a mistake. You should say I have been living here for 3 years. How to avoid this mistake? Unfortunately, there's no magic hack with this one. You just have to learn the 2 use cases of since and for. We used for the length or the duration of time something has been happening. I have been a doctor for 5 years. And we use since for point when something started happening, which is still happening today. I have been a doctor since 2016. If you're really struggling to remember the difference, try listening to Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson whilst reading the lyrics. You'll notice that since is used here to mean something which started in the past, Kelly's breakup with her no-good boyfriend, that is still happening today. It's a pretty annoying song, but hey, if it works.
I've been here since 1982.
I've been living here for 30 years.
Mistake 5. Saying eat rather than take for medicine. I have a headache, so I eat some painkillers. But the correct verb to use is I have a headache, so I took some painkillers. We use the verb take for medicine, pills, tablets, vitamins, and drugs, including illegal drugs. In English, we don't use take to talk about drinking or eating. We just use it for medication and drugs. How to avoid this mistake? Practice. Next time you feel unwell, say the correct version to yourself out loud in English. I am going to take some medication. Alternatively, you could try watching an English language TV show set in a hospital, such as Scrubs or Grey's Anatomy. That way, you'll hear the correct verb used to talk about medicine all the time.
Take your medicine.
And mistake number 6 is mixing up lay and lie. Lay and lie. I'm not gonna lie. These 2 little 3-letter words are known to have bugged both native and non-native English speakers for over 700 years. So if you feel confused by them, you're in good company. I say the best way to understand the differences between lay and lie is to study the difference between transitive and intransitive verbs. How to avoid this mistake? There's no getting around how confusing these 2 words are. If you're still stuck, read through this explanation of the difference between laying and lying in bed on Preply's Ask a Tutor forum. In the words of Preply tutor, Leona, lay means to place something down flat. It is transitive and requires an object to act upon. As in, he lay down his sword. Lie means to be in a flat position on a surface. Lie is intransitive and requires no object to act upon. Lie describes something moving on its own into position, or already in position. I decided to lie down. Once you understand these definitions and want to make them stick long-term, you can use this mnemonic memory tool. Lay, place. Lie, recline.
Lay down.
Lie down.
The next one is using nobody when they mean anybody. People say I didn't meet nobody, but the word nobody would be wrong in this sentence. The correct version is, I didn't meet anybody. Do you know why? Because nobody isn't used in a sentence that already has not in it, a sentence that is already negative. If there is already a negative component in a sentence, you do not add another negative to it. You'd say I didn't meet anybody. How to avoid this mistake? Read up on what double negatives are in English, and why they are considered incorrect. This tip will also help you overcome mistake.
Nobody wants you here. Nobody!
I don't need anybody.
The next one is using the when making general statements. Of course, this whole list could be about articles if we wanted. These tiny little words can be a real pest to non-native English speakers. This is an old one, but still a tricky one. Many advanced learners still use the definite article when talking about a plural or uncountable noun. Remember that in English, when we are talking in general about all of a thing, we don't use the. For example, the sentence life is beautiful is correct. That doesn't mean we can't use the, but when we do, we are being specific and only referring to one thing. For example, the sentence I'm reading about the life of Michael Jackson is correct. How to avoid this mistake? Remember that to use a definite article, you must be talking about something definite. Try to memorize a few concrete examples of general statements. For instance, life is beautiful. War is horrible. Something that makes me anxious is climate change.
What's the secret?
And last but not least, using incorrect grammar in positive statements. When students speaking about something they enjoy, it's certainly easy to throw grammar out of the window. Lots of students say, "I like so much dogs." I mean, yeah, me too, but this is a mistake. Equally often, students say, "I very like dogs." This one is more common with Russian speakers. Both of these are mistakes. How do we fix them? Firstly, if you want to use so much, then that should go after the object. So the correct version is, "I like dogs so much." Otherwise, you should use a modifier instead of very, so it would be "I really like dogs." How to avoid this mistake? Just remember, it's rare that you can translate sentences directly from your native language to English. Even if you're an advanced learner, keeping some template sentences in mind can be a big help. For instance, "I really like pancakes." I absolutely love pancakes. I think pancakes are great. And that's it for this video, guys.